Exciting. This is a day I have been looking forward to for 8 years. So thank you everyone for coming here today. As my co-founder Alexandra mentioned, this is something that we have been talking about a lot since we started the company. How can we start our own event to talk about the things that we really think it matters to the real estate industry and shaping cities? And I must say, it was not an easy job. It's a lot of work to put an event together. So I really thank you for coming here. And today you will get to decide if we were right about this idea and if it's something that we should do it every year or if it's just, yeah, thank you for the try and no thanks. So today I'm very excited to talk about what we have been doing for the last few years, the whole team of Combify. And before we get into that, I would like to ask you a question. Many of us have been seeing a lot of ads about and a lot of AI softwares coming to the scene. And I would like to ask how many of you have been using or at least tried one of these applications? Oh, great, almost everyone. So that's great because it's very easy to use and it's very helpful in many tasks. And today we want to talk how can we implement this within our industry? How can we get AI to be our assistant doing our work? But before we get into that, I asked actually AI language model, how can you define yourself? And this is what I got. So basically, an AI language model is it's one sort of AI. It's an AI algorithm that uses deep learning that is trained on massive and large data sets to understand, generate, and predict new content. So that's really interesting. So we thought, can we visualize that? What does that even mean? So here, a visualization of how AI explains itself. Massive, large data set, AI algorithm, where the magic happens, and then we get the value. So what type of value? If we look at value within our real estate industry, it could be Q&A. Like I'm doing my market research and I want to ask AI a question that helped me build my understanding. For example, if the AI is trained on development data, then I can ask it how many rental residential units Stockholm City is planning to build in 2024. And the AI should answer this. We can add one layer of complexity to it. So it could be, I'm looking for a site and I want AI to basically help me find areas with development potential. And that is a lot of criteria with like plus and minus. And I can explain it as I explain it to a real estate advisor, and the model should give me these properties that I'm looking after. We can go also with one extra layer of complexity if the AI is really trained on how cities are being shaped and developed. Since the AI right now understands all the parameters of all sites in Sweden, it also understands all the building rights, it understands the cost of construction and all of these factors. It should help me design properties. We see many great companies within that field. My industry colleague, Sofia, today is going to tell us a lot about this amazing job that they're doing within that field. So many of us are trying to really understand AI, and many companies are trying to implement it with their day-to-day work. The government is trying to regulate it. So We agree with that. We think AI is really amazing and it's going to be really great to start using it. But we see the big problem is here. What data are we going to train the AI on? Because the industry is not only stories, it's basically very location, 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 very geo-oriented industry. And this data has to be digitalized and served to the model to basically give us something that is far better, that is far smarter than doing the thing ourselves. And we are all familiar with how traditional the industry is. So if it can do it better than we do it, we're not going to use it. So the problem is that real estate data is extremely fragmented and really hard to work with. And it needs a lot of digitization before we give it to a machine to train on it. I will give an example. So if we look at development data and all development plans in Sweden. In Sweden, we have around over 100,000 implemented development plans, detaljplaner. And those plans basically regulate how we have shaped all cities and municipalities in Sweden. Sweden approve approximately 1,000 new development plans yearly that help us scale and develop those cities. And we have all the time in the pipeline around 5,000 development that are being investigated, being planned, being studied by all public authorities and private developers. So the problem is that we have been doing this exactly or almost the same for 500 years. Nothing changed. What does that mean? Like, is it possible that someone keep doing the exact same thing for 500 years? So to prove that, let's go back in history. This is Stockholm, 500 years ago. There to the left, you see the first official map, written, hand-drawn map of Stockholm. This is official, where we see Gamla stan and its surrounding. Then to the right, we see a map that has been drawn like a couple of years after. A couple of years after here, we mean like 40 years after, where we see Södermalm is actually unregulated yet. To the right, we see a Danish Stockholm map. It's actually in the Royal Library of Copenhagen, where we see now Södermalm has been regulated. But here, when the map was drawn, Södermalm was not implemented yet. So this was like an urban development vision of how the area should be. And going to the right, we can start to see how we started adding information on this map to understand how we're going to develop. So you see some buildings with some codes on them. If we go 200 years in time now, this is the first official detaljplan, detailed plan of Strandvägen, where they were planning this nice boulevard that many of us enjoy walking in today, and where we see now some development has happened with the way we visualize the map, but it's basically the same. It's a map and it's a lot of text that explaining the regulation and the planning. Let's move 50 years up. Here we see how Örebro, same, but of course now with more regulation, with more building rights and more how we are going to design and form all of the areas. So here we see how it has been done. And now, if we look at how we're doing it today, 2023, this is how we do it. We're using digital tools, we're using computer, we are like, it's, of course, our cities are much more complex, but we are exactly doing it the same. We focus on the area that we're developing and we explain it with text. Now, for normal human being, it's really hard for this to understand. But for, of course, someone who has studied the industry, they know how to read the planning regulation and the design of building, and then they can basically understand how the building should be shaped after the plan is being implemented. But an AI can't understand it, because it's very hard for it to understand that this text is connected to that building. Also, this is not all the text, because as cities get more complex, actually those documents and those things got even more complex. So if we look at this one, for example, this development in Stockholm that was implemented this year has over 20,000 pages of PDF text, heavy text documents. explaining all the investigations and all the planning work that happened within this project. For someone who is fully dedicated to read all the planning documents of this project, it will take them 50 days reading 8 hours a day, taking no weekends whatsoever. That's one development from 100,000 that in the country. And it's really easy to read because it's digital. We call it digital. So the good news that many great companies and great initiatives happening within the prop tech companies and the government to try to digitalize this data. And so we are on the right path. It just takes time. So we ourselves, we've been doing this for almost 3 years now. We're trying to digitalize all Sweden's development areas. So we've been working with this information and trying to basically keep this data updated. So we link it to all municipalities. So with every planning change, you can track it. You can see how Stockholm is being developed, how Gothenburg is planning for the future. So that's great. We thought also like we should take it to the next level because, as mentioned, it's not only important to know where the area is being developed, it's also important that you actually connect that to the property itself. So that's a lot of work. That's like 100,000 old scanned documents that need to be digitalized. But we think it's very important, and that's why we do it, because it's the only way to get where we want to be. By doing this, you can get a fully digital land use area of a city like Mölndal in this case, where you can actually see on a property level what are the building rights on this property and what it's used for. You can also take a look over the whole city and see where are the schools, where are the commercial areas, mixed use areas, residential, and so on. So also you can design for and shape the city based on what the city looks like today. That's for development plans, but the real estate industry is not only development plans, it's a lot more. So if we consider master plans, oversiktsplaner, this is even much more complex because many parties are involved within this area. So we also think that one map that shows the future of this is very critical for us to understand the vision of each municipality. But that's not the only thing in the industry. We have a lot more to get digitized. So development plans, okay. We have oversiktsplaner. Bygglov, we have 80,000 bygglov yearly being published in Sweden. Now they went a little bit down, but still, we have many of them. We have all the markanvisningar that are happening, and properties. Properties changes, who owns the properties, and the boundaries, all the information that is connected to a property. All the buildings, the building footprint, the size, the type, who are the tenants that are using this building, demographics information that SEB has done a great job within, and of course millions of data points of interest where it helps us understand the city. So a lot of data needs to be digitalized, and we have gone so far right now with digitalization, but we still, of course, want to do more. But when we do this, we get to something that is really, really, really cool, which is a live map of how Sweden is being shaped and developed. This is exactly how we are developing. This is like development plans, this is building permits, this is how the cities are growing. This is 500 years of history that is in real time. This is since the first time we have recorded a development until this very day. Now, we thought how exciting it will be if we marry this to deep AI. Because it's hard to, okay, it looks amazing, but how can I now make business decisions based on this? And we thought, okay, let's just get them together and marry them. As now we have solved the data, let's see what one can do with this. And this is, of course, a lot that can be done. But today, we are very excited to show the first result of that marriage, like the first little kid over big data, massive development information over Sweden history with AI. And we call it Combify agent. So let me introduce it here. It looks like this, a chat box, and you can type what you're looking for. And you're asking 500 years old real estate experienced agent, and it will start looking as you are typing to it, what are you actually looking for? And you start spot these properties based on your exact specific criteria. When it's spotted for you, it gives it a list of, and then you can click on it. You have a full overview of the thing that you have asked about. Then you can continue investigating and changing what you are looking for. So this is, we think, is a bold step towards how one can leverage digital data towards helping us make decisions. But how it works, like how does it look like in real time, or in a real life example? So here we have Peter. Peter is a residential building developer who is looking for a property, residential property within the Stockholm area. He prefers a property that already has a development. He doesn't want to go through the struggle with planning his own development and dialogue with the city. But also he has some other criteria. He is looking for a property that is only within the 1,000 to 500 square meters range, and it's important for him that this property has no building permit. So it's like then there is no, he wants to be flexible with designing the property. And since he is developing residential in this, he wants it to be close to a school. That's what he's looking for. Can AI help him do that, or should he go to and do it the manual way and spend tens of hours? Well, we tried this. So here we explained exactly to the model what Peter is looking for. So when we give it to the model, can you help Peter find what he is looking for? And then the model starts to look where there are suitable places. It found one, and it gave us this property, Västra Sågås. One now start to see the information that Peters need to make the decision. Who owns it? Some insight about the demographics in the area. Who lives there? What is the level of income they have? Peter wants to have the property close to school, so it gives him how far walking or driving to this school. And then you get all the planning information. What are you allowed to build in this property? Everything. You also get who you should contact in the municipality to actually ask more questions about it. And of course, all the documents that we spoke about is already linked in here. So he likes it. He saved it. Now he wants to see another example. He goes to another property. Look at it, check it. Maybe not what he's looking for. Then he decides, nah, this is maybe not what I'm looking for. And now he thinks that maybe I should go for bigger properties. Maybe I should change what I'm actually looking for. So he can change the instructions. Here it tells you, okay, now I don't want 1,000. I want actually to go bigger. So let's go to 5,000 to 8 or 7,000 in this case. And then now the agent will just understand and suggest bigger properties for him that exactly have the old saved criteria that Peter wants. He continue looking at them, get more information about now the schools nearby, and then he keep doing this, looking at different objects until he feel, okay, now I'm confident. Now I have what I'm looking for. So what do I do next? So now, okay, this is good property. Okay, now I'm done, thank you. Go back to the chat, close it. And now let's see. Now Peter wants to present what he actually found. So here he will have a timeline where he shows all the properties that actually he thinks that they are interesting based on his search. This is great. Now he can have a timeline where he can actually work with these properties. But what's really, really interesting here, what is the thing here that we see very exciting is that the job for Peter is done, but the AI does not stop. So here, Petter will get recommended all over the time until Petter asks it not to recommend properties that are similar to what he has been looking for. So think of how many use cases we have here. Like, think of all property developers who are looking for specific type of site, explaining that, and then leave it to this great solution to keep suggesting. Think of all commercial companies, all expansion companies, and never mention that you can speak any language with it. So even for international companies, French, German, UK companies can come here and can look for attractive, suitable real estate for them within their own language, getting access to 500 years of development information across the entire country without the need to spend hundreds of hours doing it manually. So we think this is really exciting, and we think this is just one example of where AI can take us. But it's very, very important that we first solve the data. And a lot of work still to be done. This is how the model kept working. So imagine you have now like a 500 years experienced agent doing the exact same to you for free. So we call it Combify Agent. We think it's very exciting. We're very happy about it, and we feel that the future is really bright with this type of technologies. We are launching it in November, and we're looking forward for everyone to try this amazing, great technology. So you can scan the code right now to get early access, because it was very limited for us now in the first days to train the model. So it will be the first 100 signups that will actually get access to the platform with the first launch. And that's it. Thank you.